And updates from across the nation and beyond. I'm Matsirin Namshar. On the News Mongolia today, Mongolian national broadcaster teams up with cultural influencers in a government-initiated campaign to aid herders affected by the dzud. National Statistics Office releases monthly economic report for February 2024. Design technology teacher made a Mongolian gear for educational purposes for about 30 kindergarten and elementary school children. For the news, stay tuned. In response to the Mongolian government's call for humanitarian aid amidst the dzud crisis, the Mongolian national broadcaster has forged a powerful alliance with the influential cultural figures, launching a concerted campaign to provide vital support for herders who are grappling with the harsh winter conditions.
This unprecedented on-air event is not only an opportunity to showcase the immense talent within Mongolia, but also a call to action for viewers to contribute towards humanitarian aid for herders affected by dzud crisis. By providing a platform for renowned artists from various genres, MNB aims to create an engaging and entertaining experience for the audience, while inspiring them to make a positive impact through their donations.
People wanting to contribute to this goodwill can join our initiative. I'm really happy that our initiative is widely supported. In a dedicated effort to bolster fundraising initiatives, the Mongolian national broadcaster has taken an impactful step by allocating prime airtime on its main TV channel next Saturday. The entire 10-hour program will be broadcast live from the state-of-the-art Studio 600 at MNB, is set to feature captivating concerts by a diverse array of genre-defining artists. For those eager to participate in this cause in person, MNB welcomes individuals to visit the MNB event hall. This designated space will serve as a central hub for gathering donations.
Dzud, a natural disaster marked by a severe winter following a summer drought, has significantly impacted herding communities across Mongolia, prompting urgent relief efforts. In collaboration with esteemed cultural figures, the Mongolian national broadcaster aims to amplify the impact of its campaign, aligning closely with the government's overarching initiative to assist those affected by dzud. Currently, our channel's 8 news groups are working to cover dzud stories from different regions of Mongolia. In addition, we have special reporters in all 21 provinces of Mongolia, who send us timely news and coverage from their respective regions. All donations raised through this campaign and concert will be fully donated to herders affected by the dzud disaster.
This week, the National Statistics Office released its regular monthly report indicating notable changes in Mongolia's economic landscape. The average monthly household income experienced a considerable increase to 2.3 million MNT, showing a growth of 24% compared to the same period in the previous year.
The total real income also exhibited a noteworthy uptick, recording 14.1% increase compared to the corresponding period in 2023. These encompassed various components. Actual salary income increased by 17.8%, equal to 104.9 thousand Mongolian tugreks. The real income from agricultural production rose by around 35%. A contributing factor to these figures is the expansion of the money supply, reaching 37.5 trillion Mongolian tugreks by the end of January 2024, according to preliminary results. This represents a 26% increase from the same period last year. The rise in the current account by 33%, equal to 2 trillion Mongolian tugreks, and deposits by 33.9%, equal to 4.3 trillion Mongolian tugreks, played a significant role in shaping the overall money supply scenario. Regarding cash flow in transactions, January 2024 witnessed an increase reaching 1.2 trillion Mongolian Tugriks according to preliminary assessment. This indicates a rise of 12%, equal to 133 billion Mongolian Tugriks compared to the same period of 2023. Net foreign assets showed positive growth, reaching 9 trillion Mongolian Tugriks at the end of January 2024. This represents an increase of 28 billion Mongolian Tugriks from the previous month and 5.5 trillion Mongolian Tugriks compared to the same period last year. While domestic net assets experienced a slight decrease of 171 billion Mongolian Tugriks from the previous month, they still showed an overall increase of 2.2 trillion Mongolian Tugriks compared to the same period in the previous year, reaching 28.5 trillion Mongolian Tugriks. Mongolian Tugriks deposits surged to 17 trillion Mongolian Tugriks, indicating an increase of 14 billion Mongolian Tugriks from the previous month, a notable 33.9%, equal to 4.3 trillion Mongolian Tugriks growth compared to the same period last year. Individuals contributed significantly to these deposits, accounting for 84%, while enterprises and organizations accounted for 15%. On the foreign currency front, deposits amounted to 4.9 trillion Mongolian Tugriks, experiencing a modest decrease of 1.3% from the previous month, but showcasing a noteworthy 9.9% decline compared to the same period last year.
Mongolian elementary school and kindergarten curriculums include teachings about Mongolian traditions and customs. In line with this, design technology teacher Tomurbat has initiated a construction of Mongolian gears for kindergarten children as an educational project. Through this initiative, children become acquainted with the Mongolian gear and learn how to construct it from an early age.
In the preparation for the Mongolian Lunar New Year, kindergarten children are wearing traditional Mongolian dils and participating in a lesson focused on the theme of Mongolian gear. A Mongolian gear used for educational purposes in these lessons was crafted by the design technology teacher Tomurbat. Additionally, wooden chests, traditional chairs, tables, and other Mongolian gear furniture are being created. Teacher Tomurbat constructed this Mongolian gear in my classroom 5 years ago, and it has since been regularly utilized for teaching and training purposes. Every day, our children engage in lessons about the construction of the Mongolian gear and the various components involved, and they also learn about Mongolian greeting customs through this interactive experience. Furthermore, my students learn traditional Mongolian gear customs such as sitting on the bed, reading books, and treating each other respectfully.
To educate school children about Mongolian gears and to preserve this tradition as a cultural legacy, I create models of various sizes, 60 centimeters and 80 centimeters in diameter, along with wooden frameworks known as han. These models are tailor-made for kindergarten, elementary and middle school students. These Mongolian gear models provide practical training, allowing children to familiarize themselves with the assembly and disassembly process of a Mongolian gear from an early age. Providing such training on Mongolian gears in schools and kindergartens serves an important cognitive function by introducing children to Mongolian national heritage, the architectural structure of Mongolian gears, assembly and disassembly techniques, and the terminology associated with the inner structures.
As a teacher of design technology at Temujin Urlug School of the Mongolian National Defense University, he focuses on instructing students in the art of constructing and properly handling Mongolian gears. In addition to his teaching responsibilities, he has collaborated with over 30 kindergartens, elementary and middle schools to construct Mongolian gears for educational purposes.
Constructing a small gear can typically be completed within 3 days. The first day is dedicated to preparing necessary materials, while the remaining 2 days involve the completion of the construction and painting. In contrast, crafting a large Mongolian gear with 2 to 3 wooden frameworks requires 10 to 14 days. Initially, I instruct my students in the techniques needed for practical lessons using small gear models. Boys need to acquire the skills to construct and manage their Mongolian gears for the future. I assist my father in crafting and painting slender poles, which we call un. He takes care of the remaining tasks. Currently, we are in the process of constructing a Mongolian gear with 3 wooden frameworks. It's ingrained in every Mongolian to respect the Mongolian language, Mongolian gears, and Mongolian customs from birth. Introducing children to constructing and assembling Mongolian gears through training is crucial for their understanding and appreciation of these traditions from a young age. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Now let's take a look at international news from our partner agencies. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Monday announced she's seeking a second term in one of Europe's most powerful posts. She became the first woman to lead the European Union's executive when she was elected to the post in 2019, a job which places her in charge of about 32,000 UE employees, as well as much of the bloc's political agenda.
At a meeting in Berlin, von der Leyen told German colleagues from her Christian Democratic Union party that she was looking forward to the joint campaign ahead of elections for the European Parliament in June. As European Commission President, she frequently represents the bloc at almost all major international summits such as the G7 and G20. The US magazine Forbes recently named von der Leyen the most powerful woman in the world. Von der Leyen's 4 years at the helm of the European Commission have been marked by the war in Ukraine, which saw the European Union provide little military aid for the first time in its history, and the COVID-19 pandemic. She also wields significant influence over EU trade, competition and environmental policy, and has backed efforts to make the bloc climate neutral by 2050. Before becoming European Commission President, von der Leyen held a series of ministerial posts under former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, including family, labor and defense. The competence of the Commission lies in the internal market and in industry. That is classic Commission competence, and that may be different sectors, but that also includes the defense industry. This means that the Defense Commissioner would have the primary task of looking after the defense industry and ensuring that we have a defense industry in which more is invested, in which better investment is made, and where we can achieve greater interoperability for our armed forces in the production of the weapons system that are needed. Just to be clear, the organization of the armed forces is the responsibility of the member states, just to be clear. In Brussels, she is a member of the affiliated centre-right European People's Party. Von der Leyen is widely expected to be elected as the EPP's top candidate for the upcoming election at the EPP Party Congress on March 7th, although it remains unclear whether she will face any challengers. The EPP also includes the Austrian People's Party, Forward Italy of former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, and Spain's Conservative People's Party. Some members of the European Parliament remain skeptical of von der Leyen, in part because she was nominated for the post in 2019 by the leaders of the European Union countries, despite not having stood as a lead candidate in the European elections. Von der Leyen, a trained physician and the mother of 7, was relatively unknown outside Germany when she was catapulted to the top job in 2019. She had once been viewed as a potential successor for Merkel in Germany. She has a reputation as a workaholic and is known for sleeping in the Commission's Brussels headquarters instead of renting an apartment like her predecessors. Von der Leyen has recently taken steps toward potentially cracking down on low-priced Chinese electric vehicles which allegedly receive huge Chinese subsidies. She declared over the weekend at the Munich Security Conference that she would appoint a EU Commissioner for Defense if she remains in her post as president.
Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida emphasized Japan's unwavering commitment to Ukraine's reconstruction during a conference jointly organized by both nations. He stressed the necessity of tailored investment for Ukraine's progress and announced the establishment of a new trade office in Kiev.
Japan's approach to supporting Ukraine focuses on reconstruction efforts rather than military aid due to legal constraints. Kishida aims to rally international support for Ukraine amidst ongoing conflict, seeking to address the nation's specific needs through collaborative agreements between Japanese and Ukrainian governmental bodies and enterprises.
Our common aim is to defeat destructive forces that are trying to turn back the clock 100 years and bring mankind to the past. I'm sure that the Ukrainian-Japanese partnership will cope with this the best.
In a joint statement, Japan and Ukraine reaffirmed their dedication to Ukraine's economic stability and discussed plans to ease travel restrictions for Japanese business travelers. Kishida also revealed the initiation of formal negotiations for a bilateral intelligence pact, signaling Japan's commitment to enhancing defense cooperation with Ukraine.
The existence of temporarily occupied territories by Russia brings Ukraine and Japan closer. One pseudo-historic figure in the Kremlin has justified the occupation of the Kuril Islands with mystical Scandinavian rearing. Ivan the Terrible, Peter I, elves, gnomes, but for us and for you, it does not matter. As part of bilateral efforts, we confirmed the completion of preliminary discussions on the Information Protection Agreement, which we announced at the start of this agreement when we visited Kiev last March, and we agreed to start formal negotiations.
Japan's contribution of $12.1 billion to Ukraine over the past 2 years has been predominantly financial and humanitarian, given its limitation on military equipment provisions to non-lethal weaponry. This contrasts starkly with the $111 billion worth of weapons, equipment, and humanitarian assistance provided by the United States.
Japan will continue to work together with Ukraine until peace returns to the beautiful land of Ukraine. Following up on the results of the Japan-Ukraine Economic Reconstruction Conference, we will work with the G7 and other countries to build international momentum for support for Ukraine.
Japan's government has identified 7 priority areas for assistance, encompassing mine and debris clearance, humanitarian aid enhancement, agriculture, biochemical manufacturing, digital and information industries, power and transportation infrastructure, and anti-corruption measures. Collaborating with other group of 7 members, Japan aims to link the Tokyo conference with the separate Ukraine Reconstruction Conference slated for June in Germany.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for Mongolia and world major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you on Wednesday with more news and updates. Goodbye.